I'm Jonathan.
I'm Ashley.
And we are Tiny Shiny Home.
This behind us is our first build on our off-grid homestead here in Arizona. It is a hyperadobe solar shed office.
Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion.
What? What is that? That is so many words.
It's
What
a
is
lot
it?
of words.
Okay, let's talk about what a hyperadobe Earthbag solar shed office is and why we built it. Yes?
Sure.
Okay. First things first, it is a shed. It's not a house.
Right, but it's more than a shed. It's also a place where we store our batteries because we are completely off-grid here in Arizona.
That's right. Part of this project was that we had to build a huge solar ground mount, and we had to trench and run those wires into the building, and then inside the building we've got batteries and solar charge controllers and inverters, and that eventually will power our house and our trailer while we're living here.
Right, but it's also an office for both Jonathan and I.
And a guest room.
Yeah, that's right. It's a guest room.
Friends and family only. But here's the thing. This building was built as sustainably as possible. We are using the earth from our property to build these walls. That's what Earthbag is.
Right.
And hyperadobe just means that the bags that we use to fill the dirt with are netted and UV protected rather than sort of solid. It's a whole thing. We have some videos about it if you want to go watch it and see how we did it. Got plenty of that. And of course, we have to mention that we built this building together as a family of 6. Our kids helped us every day and they rocked it. But for now, let's talk about why we did it. The first thing is that we really needed a climate-controlled area for our solar power gear, right? Batteries, inverters, solar charge controllers. That was reason number one.
Right, but we also would like a room for family to come visit us and have a place to stay.
Yeah, and also there are 6 of us living in a 31-foot Airstream on this property while we are building things out here on the homestead. And we got a dog and things got real cramped. And so this will also serve as an office and sort of a hangout room just to let us stretch our legs a little bit until we get to our house build.
This building has allowed us to practice natural building techniques that we want to use when we get to our house build.
Some of those techniques include hyperadobe Earthbag, Cob and Bottle Bricks, bottle brick windows, Cob Plaster, Earthen Plaster, Earthen Floor, Cement Plaster, Buttressing, wooden rafters and decking and metal roofing, bas-relief, passive solar, negative reveal ceilings, archways, and more.
So let's talk about some of the specs on this specific build.
It's a 9-foot by 14-foot rectangle intersected with a 10-foot circle. We used 16-inch hyperadobe tube netting, and we used about 3,400 linear feet. For the bags, we used a 12-to-1 dirt to cement ratio. All in all, we moved over 80 tons of dirt, clay, and sand. And this took 11 months to complete.
When we say we took 11 months to build that, technically it was about 8 months worth of solid work.
Right.
Because we did start this last October, but we did not do it full time.
Sure,
it was like weekends here and there.
We had other things here on the homestead we were working on, but we decided to really make this a focus the beginning of 2021, and so we've been working pretty much nonstop on it ever since.
Because so many of you are going to ask, what did this cost? Guys, we do not know.
We don't. We tried to keep track, and then there was COVID and wildfires and lumber prices went through the roof, and so whatever cost we would have given you wouldn't have been normal anyway,
Right.
and we just lost track at some point. So future builds will do better about keeping track of our cost, but for this one, we just don't know. Now, we do know the cost of our electrical install, our solar panels, our batteries, and we'll be doing a whole cost breakdown for that later. But for the actual building, yeah, we just don't know. Sorry. Maybe next time.
The reason you're here is to see the reveal.
Exactly.
So let's get to it. First, we're going to show you the outside.
First is the Clerestory windows. up at the top here. So this building is south facing, which means that during the summer, when the sun comes over, the roof overhang will shade those windows, but in the winter, the sun will come through them because the trajectory of the sun changes, and it should warm the building. Right now, we're mid-October, and we're just starting to see the sun coming through those windows, so it's working out just like we planned it. The next thing are our buttresses around the front door. They're not just for looks, they are also structural. If you've ever built with Earthbag, you know that if you have a 10-foot long run, you have to support that with interlocking buttresses, and so that's what those are for. And of course, there's the overhang over the front door, which protects the buttresses and the entryway from rain and sun and wind and hail and all the other crazy stuff that we get out here. And of course, we can't forget the flower beds out front. They're a nice little design touch. And because I know some of you will be asking, yes, we do have pond liner in there and drainage so that when we water or when it rains, the water doesn't get trapped and then, mess up the Earthbag building. Now, if you've seen Earthbag buildings before, most of them have domes on the top and don't have more traditional roofs like this. So the reason that we went this direction is that we're off-grid. There is no water out here, and so we're trying to catch all the rainwater that we can. And we don't have a catchment system set up yet. That will be in the future, but this gives us square footage to catch water and to store it eventually. Also, we get hurricane force winds out here, so we made sure when we built this that we tied down the whole roofing structure with hurricane ties and hurricane straps and metal roofing that's very securely put in. A lot of engineering and thought went into this roof, and we know that it's going to last for a long time.
When building this building, all of our walls came up at the same point. We added a slanted roof, which left us with a triangle of open space to fill. We chose bottle bricks and cob to fill that space. This is an east-facing wall, so the sun comes through in the morning and sends off a great light. It also adds just another artistic touch to this building. And for those of you who are wondering what is going on with the outside of this building, yes, it is also made of dirt, but is also reinforced with cement. We did try just using our soil with clay and straw, but our hurricane winds came in and our monsoon season and it completely wiped it off. So we reinforced our soil and plaster with cement. We did try applying this earthen plaster with trowels, but we came to just really love the process of applying it by hand, and we love the way it looks hand sculpted.
This is a unique building in that we are putting power into the building via the solar panels, but then we're also coming out of the building. We're running power to our trailer, we're going to run power to our house, and also we're actually powering things inside this building as well. So the electrical part of this was really important, and having to get all those wires through the Earthbag required a ton of planning. So this looks pretty simple. Well, to some people it may look pretty simple, but this broke our brains, and we're glad it finally worked out, but this is where all the power comes into and goes out of the building. Because the circle part of the building is offset with the rectangle part of the building, we had this area sort of left over in the back, and so we decided to pour a cement pad and use this as additional storage. So back here we've got the outside unit for our mini split air conditioner, which keeps the whole building super regulated in temperature. And then also we've got a deep freeze back here because, again, we're living in an airstream. We don't have a ton of food storage, and so this gives us a way to store a bunch of food and keep it frozen. This is also our first cement pour, and we think it turned out pretty dang good.
This is the west side of our hyperadobe solar shed. As you can see, we did add some bas relief. It's sculpture work that stands off the building. And it's not just for looks, although I love the way it looks. It is functional. As you can see, the sun is shining on those spheres and casting shadows. This should reduce the amount of heat that's transferred through the walls in the summertime. But even if it doesn't work, it looks really cool, so there's that.
All right, enough about the outside. we know you want to see the inside, so let's check it out. Okay, we have a lot to talk about. The main thing is earth. There's earth in the floors, there's earth on the walls. We use this as an opportunity to experiment with a lot of different techniques. So let's talk about the floor first. We really wanted to try an earthen floor in here. So we actually used crusher fines and then a vapor barrier and then earth bags and then an earthen floor on top. It's a little weird, I know, but we were just experimenting. The earthen floor took us a few tries to get right, but we're really happy with how it turned out. Also, it was way too much work, and I don't know if we'll do it again, but there is really something like grounding about walking on an earthen floor that we really like. For the inside walls, we didn't use cement plaster, we went full earthen plaster. So that means local sand and straw and clay, even a little toilet paper. But when you mix all those things together at the right consistencies, you get a really smooth organic finish. It just feels like a warm hug in here, guys. It's awesome. As you can see, the west facing wall also has bottle bricks up at the top. When the sun sets, those things light up, they look really cool. And of course, because this is our mountain view, this is the best view in the whole place, we made sure to put a big picture window here. Makes it really hard to focus when you're working, but it looks really nice. And of course, I can't forget about our topo window. This bottle brick window is made entirely out of Topo Chico bottles. If you know what Topo Chico is, you know that it's a wonderful, bubbly mineral beverage. But it was the right depth to fit from the outside wall to the inside and still allow a nice little shelf.
One of my favorite parts about this building is the ceiling. We went with a 3/8 inch birch plywood and did a negative reveal. That means that behind all these cracks, there's actually 2x4s painted black, which creates a negative reveal. And behind me, this is also another favorite feature that we kind of came upon on accident. We knew we wanted an archway from the office into the guest room because we didn't want to have a door. The original plan was to have this wall go all the way up to the ceiling, and I'm so glad that we didn't. The main reason is we weren't sure about the archway supporting that much weight. So we just said, let's just stop it right there. That will add airflow from our mini split to the guest room, but also it adds a shelf that's functional and it looks really cool.
So the office area of this was really important. It's a place where I can work and where Ashley can work. I do web design and development. She edits a lot of the videos, so this area was really important to us to have a quiet space, a clean, modern workspace where we could come and not worry about everything else that was going on the property. This is actually a standing desk, and so you can adjust it. So sometimes we like to sit when we work, sometimes we like to stand when we work, and so this gives us the option to do that. The only downside is that with a big monitor, you kind of block your mountain view, but what can you do? And now to the nerdier side of the solar shed. Tucked away in this corner is where all of our sort of power gear is. Because remember, we're off-grid, so inside this box is 32 lithium batteries. It's 28 kilowatt hours. Behind this box is our circuit breakers where all the power comes in, provides power to the solar shed and then out to other things on the property. These are our two solar charge controllers, our inverter, our BMS, and sort of the central hub that they all connect through. It's a pretty big system, 28 kilowatt hours, like I said, and then 7,200 watts of solar. It should be able to power not only our trailer, but also our house. But the good thing is it's expandable if we ever need to add to it. One more nerdy thing. You may have noticed on the outside of the building on the roof, there were 2 antennas. So that's what these wires coming down are. We haven't really covered them up yet. We'll get to that later. But essentially what we're doing is we use an off-grid internet setup that's cell-based because we did that when we traveled in our Airstream, and it still works really good. So one of those boosts cell signal, and one of them takes the Wi-Fi signal that we're creating and it boosts it back out over the property. We've got all the internet gear tucked away behind this little filing cabinet back here. I'm not going to get back in there and get to it. But if you want to go on our site, we have a pretty detailed breakdown of how that setup works. It's tinyshinyhome.com/internet. So let's talk about regulating temperature in this Earthbag building. We do have a mini split, and that is really important for keeping it super comfortable in here. Mini splits are very efficient, they're very quiet, they do a great job, and honestly, because of the Earthbags, it doesn't have to work as hard. But the thing you have to realize about an Earthbag building is that it's not necessarily insulative, it's built around thermal mass, right? So the sun hits the outside of the building, and it actually transfers that heat through very slowly. So you end up in a situation where in the morning or in the midday when it's the hottest out, it's still cool in the building. And then as the sun goes down and that heat transfers through, it actually gets warmer at night. So we actually run our air conditioner probably more at night to cool the building back down than we do during the day. So as we go into the winter months, it'll be interesting to see how that works in addition to the passive solar. So you can see the sun is coming through the windows and it's already starting to heat this building up during this time of the day, whereas normally it wouldn't. So Earthbag, it's different. It's a whole different thing you kind of have to plan for, but the mini split is definitely our sort of insurance of just in case it gets super hot or super cold, we can regulate that temperature.
Behind this archway is our guest room. It's a 10-foot diameter circle that somehow we have managed to squeeze a circular king-size bed in. We kept it very simple in here. There is a large TV, a window, and a bed. This allows us to just have a place where we can chill out, watch movies with the kids, and it also serves as a guest room when our family comes to visit. And now for the section we like to call Frequently Asked Questions with Jonathan and Ashley.
Hi, I'm Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
And we're here to answer some of the questions that you might have.
Question number 1, where's the plumbing?
There is no plumbing, it's a shed.
This is not our house. There is no plumbing.
No. How about that floor? What's it feel like?
Oh, it feels like magic under our feet.
But it was a lot of work, a whole lot of work.
Magic that will never be repeated. Is this your house? No, it's not.
No, it's not our house. It's a shed. Sorry, we get this question a lot. It's a shed. It's not the house. We have big plans for the house.
Yeah, so stick around. You're going to be seeing that house build in the near future.
Yes, but for now, welcome to our shed.
Welcome to our office. Welcome to our guest room.
Welcome to our hyperadobe Earthbag solar shed office guest room.
All the things in one building.
What does it feel like in here?
Guys, I'm not even exaggerating when I tell you that when you walk in, it just feels like a breath of fresh air. And I don't know if it's just because we built it and it feels like we can breathe now that it's done.
Sense of accomplishment.
But we've had multiple people in here and they just said it feels so comforting.
And calming and relaxing. Yeah. And it could be because it is made out of earth.
Yeah.
We don't know, but we like the way it feels.
It feels real good.
Feels real good, guys.
Real good. And the last question is, will we be doing this again?
Yeah, actually. We have, like we've said, big plans for our house, but also lots of other buildings on the property because, hey, you know what? Dirt is free.
Yeah.
And the cost of everything is crazy right now, so we are actively looking for ways to use these hyperadobe bags to build other buildings and structures while we're out here.
Right. So just refer to us now as the hyperadobe homesteaders.
Speaking of, another question I know they're going to ask is, where do we get those bags?
Oh, that's a great question,
It's a great
Jonathan.
question. So, our friends at Vuln Companies, they're the ones who make them. They're super high quality. They're UV treated. They last a long time in the sun without breaking down. We've been really happy with them. So, if you just go to tinyshinyhome.com/hyperadobe bag, it'll take you over to their website. You can call Bob and they'll get you hooked up.
Bob's your man.
Bob's your man.
He's the hookup. Now, we couldn't have done this without so many people. So we have a lot of people to thank.
Yes, we do.
First and foremost, our homies.
Oh, yes.
And who are our homies?
Our Tiny Shiny Homies, we have a membership, a Patreon style sort of community that people pay to be a part of, and they help support us, help us have the time to work on projects like this and make videos and educational materials. We could not do it without them. So thank you so much, homies.
Yes.
Who else?
My dad. My dad spent a solid week out here helping us put the roof on. Thank you so much, Mom and Dad. Mom for letting him come. Dad for helping us learn how to do this.
Yeah. Also, Factotum Farms.
Huge help.
Jason came and helped us with the solar panel array. They helped us cob. They've moved dirt for us. Our other neighbor, Mike, he moved a ton of this dirt for us. We could not have done it without him. The Trujillos.
Juan and Michelle for helping us with their battery setup.
They're beginning from this morning on YouTube, and yeah, they helped us sort of plan and implement our whole power and battery setup.
We're probably going to forget several people, but a huge thank you to all of you who have helped us get this shed done.
Because we did it. We got this shed done.
It's done, guys.
Yeah. Oh, also, we have to mention a few other people and companies, right? Yes. So you may have noticed there's a lot of decorative things in here, and those all came from different companies. Some of them we just bought, some of them were sent to us. So we're gonna just share those with you real quick, not to get into too much detail.
First up, at West End, they sent us our cast iron bird hooks, our Life is Good pillow, and the Faces vases.
The Faces vases. Also, Oaky Wood. So Oaky Wood, they made all the really cool desk accessories, the monitor stand, the headphone stand, little planter, the little charging stands that go beside the bed, and the laptop stands that our laptops sit in. They're really high quality, and they actually sent us those to show you all. So make sure you go check out Oaky Wood.
The desk is by Flexi Spot. The chair is by
Laura Davidson.
And the shed is by us.
And of course, we could not have done it without our awesome kids. Guys, you make the magic happen.
Ooh, thanks.
I know. But high fives?
High fives, guys.
All right.
Look what we built.
Listen, we got the shed done, but just because it's finished doesn't mean we're finished. We got lots more coming.
Right, stick around. You'll be seeing a lot more hyperadobe builds here on the Off-Grid Homestead. We'll see you then.